you living? What's good? It's your girl Francine. Today is Saturday. And today is another rendition of Girl, I'm finna take your black car. And for this week, which is still request week, I got requested this movie after I did my review of Belly, and somebody suggested I do Shottas next. And I was like, I feel like I've heard of that movie, but I have not seen it. So, okay, since we're doing request week and that one was like the most recent one, I was like, okay, fine, I'll do this one. And then somebody I actually know. So I was like, okay, I'll do this one. So we're doing a review of Shottas, which is a interesting movie, to say the least. To be quite honest, I have tried to watch this movie 3 times, and I just couldn't get past the first 10 minutes the first 2 times I watched it. But then the 3rd time, I had my coffee, it was in the daytime, I wasn't tired, you know what I'm saying? And I got through the beginning because it's boring as hell. I'm gonna give you a very, a very quick little, if you watching this movie, if you've never seen this movie, the beginning, it drags, okay? And we're gonna get into my thoughts at the end, but I'm just letting you know why this video is on Saturday and not on Friday, because I tried, okay? Yes, I said I was an occasional adult on Thursday, and I was having very bad time management, but I tried on this one, okay? Because the other one was a 4-hour TV show, and I was like, oh, do I feel like sitting through a 4-hour TV show? But this was only an hour and a half, so it was like, I could do that. But it gets better. It does get better. So let's get into the actual review and not just me talking, okay? Let's get into the review of Shottas, okay? So the first 10 minutes I was talking about is essentially in Kingston, Jamaica, and there are these kids, and they're playing around, and one of the, well, actually, backtrack, even before we get to that part, okay? We get to the beginning, and it is one of my least favorite things that movies do, which is a flash forward before we get to the actual aspect of the movie. And this one actually was bad, in my opinion, because it kind of gave away the best part of the movie, like, in the beginning. So once that scene started unfolding, I was like, I already know what's about to happen. So, but there's these guys in the house, and then you see these guys coming from outside inside to pretty much shoot them because they got guns, and they start shooting, and you don't really know what happens, but you know people roll up on some guys that we have not been introduced to yet. They get shot, and hijinks ensue apparently. I don't know. But then we get to Jamaica. Okay, we're in Kingston, Jamaica. It's 1978, and these little kids, and they are playing in the streets. And one of the first things in this scene is that this red car comes up. The guy has a gun, and the little kid's like, oh, what you doing with that gun? Like, how you get that gun? Blah, blah, blah. And I forgot what the guy said because I didn't really think it was that important. Then he walks away, gunshots, somebody's crying, and they get back in the car, and the car don't even start back up. So they just walk off like casually. I'm like, okay, that's how we kill people apparently. We just walk off like, all right, let's go. But I guess it's different in Kingston, I don't know. And then these little kids, we see them, and I'm gonna be quite honest, the first 2 times I watched this, I couldn't watch it because the movie's in Jamaica. So of course the accents are gonna be very thick. Of course we're gonna have patois, we're gonna have, you know, a language that I don't really understand very much. And so the first 2 times it was very hard to understand what the hell was going on. Second time I watched it on a different platform, and it had subtitles, so that helped. So yeah, I needed the subtitles. I needed them. I was like, oh girl, we're not gonna be able to do this without the subtitles, no. So essentially what happens in this scene, which in my opinion, this part and the next part really could have been cut down to like a couple minutes, because they're just establishing stuff. It didn't have to be a whole 10 minutes of a movie, okay? These kids, we see them kind of playing with each other. They see this delivery guy roll up, and then he had this big old roll of money. And I'm like, bro, why are you just walking around with a big old roll of money? Like, so they ask him, you got a gun? Like, why are you just walking around with all this money? Like, you got a gun? He was like, no, I ain't scared of nobody. And they were like, oh, bet. So they find a way to get a gun. I'm just gonna breeze past it because they really indulge into this. They find a way to get a gun so that they can rob this delivery guy. And they do. They eventually end up robbing this delivery guy, getting all this money. And they were talking at the end about how he was going to get a visa. The one of the little kids, he was going to get a visa. He got to connect for a visa to go to Miami where his mom is, and the other boy would say he was going to go to America too, right? That literally could have just been that, okay? It literally could have been them robbing this delivery guy, him talking about how he was going to get a visa to Miami, and then cut. But okay, cool. We're establishing things. Cool. I guess maybe they thought they had to give you more information than that, but that's pretty much the gist of it, okay? Then we get to 20 years later. So it's even less of, like, it didn't mean that much, okay? The only reason why we need to know he went to Miami is to know that he was in Miami and he's coming back from Miami 20 years later because he was apparently deported, I think. I feel like they were implying that. I don't know, because the beginning, honestly, it didn't make no sense. So he comes back to Jamaica from Miami 20 years later. He's talking to this cop. This whole scene was unnecessary. He was like, oh, you coming down here to sell drugs and rob people like they do in Miami and yada yada yada, and we gotta get fingerprinted. Never comes up again. Never comes up again. And then these two guys meet him outside of the airport, and the guy who's coming in, his name is Biggs. The guy, I know names in this movie, mainly because I didn't know who half these people were, but I know names in this movie also because they say them often, okay? Biggs is the guy who came back from Miami, his friend Wayne, and a guy Max. Now, honestly, 90% of what happens in the next like few things I'm gonna tell you don't matter to the story, but I'm gonna say it anyway because it happens in the movie, okay? So we get Wayne, he takes him to this little party or whatever. He meets his brother Blocka. Now, I'm gonna mind you, I don't know who these people are in comparison to the little kids back in the day because they don't look nothing like them, and they don't, I don't really understand what's going on. Like, that's why I don't really think that part was important, to be quite honest. Like, we could have established that they were friends from back in the day and he went to Miami without showing that part, but I digress. So he meets Blocka, who is apparently Wayne's brother. He doesn't really matter to most of the story, but yes. And then he meets John. So he meets all these people and they don't matter, okay? So the gist of this part, because again, this could have been wrapped up in a little bow in like 5 minutes. Wayne is apparently extorting all these people in the city for money to make sure that they safe, quote unquote. One of the dudes that he was extorting, the Chinese guy, he short on money. I forgot his name, Mr. Chen. Since Mr. Chen, see, I know names. I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. Mr. Chen, he was he didn't have his money. He was like, oh, you been short 3 months. His brother Blocka and Wayne, oh no, his brother Blocka and Max shoots him up, kills him in a little shop. I think it was like a rental car place, and they drive off, right? So, we're getting to the gist because there's a lot that goes on. They go to this club, these guys try to shoot, I think Max, and Biggs like peeps it out. He goes, that doesn't matter. Then the main part that kind of sort of matters is that Wayne is in connects with this politician who apparently is in cahoots with the police as well. The police don't like him, don't like Wayne, because they doing some outlandish type stuff. The police ends up killing Wayne's brother, who is Blocka, who we had this whole long exaggerated storyline about how we were meeting him and he dead now. They kill him and they try to kill Max. Max survives and tells him, he goes to the politician like, hey yo, you tried to kill my brother, like we need to handle this. And the politician's like, look, I got an election coming up and you causing some trouble. I need you to go back to America. I can get you a visa. Like, I need you to keep it low because you messing up my stuff. Like, so they say no. He's like, no, I got too much going on in Jamaica. Like, I don't want to leave, blah, blah, blah. So the police go to raid him to kill him because the politician tells him to kill Wayne, make sure he's dead. And they go to his place, they shoot them up, but he doesn't kill Wayne, he ends up killing John. I don't know why we ended up meeting him because he didn't matter at all. But Wayne's like, yo, they trying to set me up. Like, I'm convinced the politician trying to set me up. So he calls the politician acting like he was the police officer. And he was like, oh, I'm watching the news and I don't see Wayne being one of the people that died at that place. And he like, yo, you set me up, we gonna kill you, blah, blah, blah. He was like, no, just take these visas and leave. Like, it's all good. We can have like it's fine. And Biggs, who was just in America, was like, yo, it's cool in America. We can make the same kind of money in America. Like, yeah, let's just go. So they go to the politician to pick up their visas. They got his secretary hostage, okay? And he's like, yo, give us the visas or we gonna kill her, right? So he gives them the visas, makes sure they legit, and they shoot up the politician. So they kill the man. Anyway, I was like, again, none of this matters. Besides them getting the visas so that they can go back to Miami, which is most of this movie and the best part of this movie, to be quite honest. All that stuff I just talked about, completely unnecessary. Only reason why this is important, to be quite honest, is because we had to make sure that Biggs left Miami to go back to Miami so he can have this competition that eventually ensues with another drug dealer in Miami. That's pretty much the only reason why I can think this part was important. And it was just really drawn out. We met a bunch of characters that were irrelevant to the storyline, but I digress, we're getting there. And one thing I will say, the acting isn't perfect, but in comparison to last week when we watched Belly with a bunch of people who are not actors, this is a lot better than that, in my opinion. I think most of these people are believable. Now granted, they can't act, but they're believable at what they're doing. They're believable at the lines they are saying. The one thing I hated about Belly is anytime Nas talked, even though I'm sure he'd been about that life at one point, I did not believe anything he was saying out of his mouth. I did not. Didn't believe it. Like I said, DMX pretty much played himself, so everything made sense in that sense. But Nas was just annoying me. But everybody, except for a select few people, and we're gonna get there, were perfectly convincible. That's not a word. Convincing in their parts as these people, right? Now, the line delivery may not have been great, but I believe these people were gangsters. I believe these people were drug dealers. Like, I could believe it, okay? And that's pretty much bare minimum I'm asking for, okay? That's all I'm asking for, okay? And so they go back to Miami, and Biggs has this connect that he was talking to named Gussie. He goes to see him, is like, hey, yo, we need to get some stuff to, you know, put on the street so we can get back in the game. And Gussie's like, hey, yo, you know, Teddy, I think his name's Teddy Buckshot or Teddy Big Shot, something like that. See, I'm not even looking at my notes. That's how much I actually was into this movie. Surprisingly, I really thought I was gonna hate this movie. So he goes to see Gussie. Gussie tells him Teddy Big Shot is now officially the main dude in the drug dealing business in Miami, and he got everything on lock. So, you know, you ain't the big dude no more because you left literally for like what, like 2 weeks? How long was he in Jamaica? Like, it wasn't even whatever. Okay. Somehow he just got the block back in 2 weeks. I mean, dedication time. Okay. So they go to this little diner, and Biggs is like, hey, yo, like he gets the gun up on him. He like, I run this. Period. And they about to shoot up the people, his peoples and whatever. And one thing he does mention that kind of sort of comes up later on, but isn't really that important, is that one of his peoples, Dangles, I think his name was. Dangle, I think. Whatever. One of his people used to ride with him at one point, but now he riding with Teddy. He was like, yo, we need people. Come to our team. We hire. Okay? So they, you know, leave the diner, and, you know, he's like, yo, I'm running this now. And period. Now after this, we're seeing them torture people. We're seeing them robbing people. We're seeing them, you know, Max. Because Max comes with, it's Wayne, Max, and Biggs. They all three go to America. Max, he scares me. Let's talk about it. What's this guy's deal? What's going on there? I feel like something wrong up there. Because he does some really weird stuff in this movie, and I don't even really know how to explain it, but he just kind of creeps me out. I don't know, maybe it's because he was trying to smoke a cigarette with someone else's arm. Don't know where he got the arm from, but was like, what's going on here? I don't know. And he keeps drawing numbers on stuff, and I don't know, with blood, by the way. And I don't know if it's the number of people he's killed, but at one point it said 134. So I'm assuming he killed 134 people. Yeah, We were supposed to be rooting for this guy, by the way. But I digress. And so Wyclef Jean is in this movie. We need to talk about him because why? Him and DJ Khaled are apparently in this movie. Why? Because if there's two people in this movie that did not need to be in this movie, number one on the list, well, actually, he might be number two because he somewhat is relevant to the movie. There's one person who's not at all relevant to the movie. I'm like, why is this person here? Because they can't act. We getting there. Anyway, Wyclef Jean is in this movie and he can't act, okay? And I feel like I've seen him try to act before and I think it was bad then. Like, why do we keep letting this man think he can act? Okay, we're not gonna talk about it. Anyway, so the next person who should not be in this movie is Big's girlfriend? Question mark? I guess, yeah. I mean, eventually down the line, they end up being real close, but it didn't seem like they were. Like, he never mentioned this chick. And all of a sudden, she just came up out of nowhere. And she can't act either. And also, completely irrelevant. I get, like, it's a drug dealer movie, so you want him to have a love interest. But they don't make her relevant at all. Okay? She has no particular point in this plot. The only thing she serves, they go into the club. She's like, oh, I don't have nothing to wear. And they go shopping. And then they go to this Rolex place. And that whole scene is completely unnecessary, to be quite honest. And just was so annoying. And I really wish it wasn't in the movie. Because it just, I feel like this movie, if it was literally like a 45-minute little short, it would have been a great movie. Because all of the good parts in this movie could have just made a 45-minute short and it would have cohesively went together. Like, it's essentially, we got beef, we gonna try to kill each other, boom. That was the interesting part. I didn't need all the other stuff, like them going to this Rolex place and Wayne having sex with the receptionist. I didn't need to see that. I did not need to see that, okay? I did not need to see that because why? It literally does not come up again. Well, briefly comes up again and it's, again, irrelevant. But anyway, they go to the club and they are there. Teddy's there. It's obviously vengeance in each other's eyes because this whole time he's been robbing Teddy's people, taking their drugs, taking their money. Like, Biggs is coming into Teddy's territory and definitely kind of winning at this point. He's winning the game. And he can tell, but he like, no, they little, I can't say the word because I'm already in trouble with copyright, and very likely this video will not have that many clips in it because YouTube don't want me to be, we don't need to talk about that. I talked about that already. Anyway, so in this club, Gussie comes up to Biggs and he's like, hey, yo, you know, you the new dude in town, like you doing what you gotta do. And he's telling him about these people coming in with drugs, and they come every Tuesday. That's somewhat relevant, so I'm just putting that in there now. And they, you know, they look like they all buddy or whatever. And Teddy is peeping, and he like, oh, he a snitch. I don't know what he's snitching about, but okay. And so they kill Gussie. They kill him in broad, like in front of everybody. Like, somebody kills him. And that's pretty much the end of that scene. So then Marley meets up with Teddy. And he's like, you know who killed Gussie? He was like, no, I don't know. Like, he was a Shottas. You know, he was around. Like, he was doing stuff. So it could be anybody. Really? Could it? Anyway, he gives Biggs 30K for some reason. So he got him whipped at this point. And I'm like, is this really a competition? Because my guy obviously is winning here, but we gonna get to it, okay? So he giving this man money. He obviously knows his place, you would think, based on the actions he's doing, okay? He is scared. He is nervous. He is flabbergasted by this man, okay? So like I said at the club, Gussie told them that these people were coming in every Tuesday with some drugs to him so he could sell it, whatever. And so they stop. They peep the guy. They act like they're the police. They rob him. They take his truck. They take his drugs. So now they got drugs to sell, right? Great. Awesome. That's what drug dealers need. They need drugs. So I said in the beginning when they first saw Teddy and they saw the guy Dangle. I'm gonna call him Dangle because that's what I remember and that's what I wrote down. So Dangle, they meet this guy Dangle and they're like, meet up with him, and he tells them that Teddy and his girl apparently shipped some money over to Jamaica, and they're doing it I think this weekend, he said it's Saturday, and then Teddy rolls up, and boy try to hide like, ooh. And he just drives up to the car, hey, how y'all doing? And he letting them know, essentially letting old boy know, I see you here, sir. I know you're here, and don't quite like that, no. But he doesn't say that. He kind of just, you know, nonchalantly like, I see the bike, I see you. Because boy rode up on a bike, I obviously know his bike. Interesting. So then they try to do this whole thing of getting Teddy's girl's money, right? They are following him very closely, right? They are following him very closely, and Teddy peeps like, why are y'all following me? What are you doing? Why? Like, my thing is, if you are supposed to be intimidating, why are you following this man so closely that he can figure out you following him? Like, I know how to follow people without them knowing I'm following them. Don't ask me why. But I don't understand how they don't know how to follow people without them knowing they're following them. But okay, sure. And so because Teddy saw them following him, because Teddy saw the bike when they were talking, he put two and two together, figured out Dangle was a snitch, and has Wyclef shoot him. And one of the most annoying scenes in this movie, because why is he in this movie? I feel like I saw that he was like an executive producer, so he probably put himself in this movie. But boy, that was a bad idea. That was bad. Like, let the other people do it that actually seem like they're supposed to be there. Because you didn't fit into any of it at all. And DJ Khaled didn't even say anything in this movie. He was just there. So I guess that's good, because I can only imagine how his acting would have been. So very much unnecessary scenes happen, and I'm not even gonna mention because they're so unnecessary. I think he has sex with Biggs has sex with his little girlfriend. Like, we don't need to see this part, okay? We get to the good part. Okay, so we get to Teddy's place. He's with all these people or whatever. Wyclef shows up, says him no, oh yo, I killed Dangle. I don't know if it's his name, but we're calling him that. And he like, hey yo, great. Then this big dude comes up and he's like, yo, I need you to kill these people, and if anybody comes up, make sure they're dead, essentially, right? So he's planning on killing Biggs and them because he peeps that they coming for him, and he's kind of sick and tired of them playing with him, like taking his money and taking from all of his drug dealers and just pretty much making him look like words I don't want to say right now because YouTube's listening. They're listening. Yeah. So then we get to pretty much the scene from the beginning of the movie, and that's why I said that ruined the movie, because this could have been a lot more exciting if we didn't already know they were going to come through and just start shooting everything up. Like, I feel like we didn't need that preface, because if we didn't have that preface, it'd have been a little bit more like, oh my god, like I already knew what was happening because I recognized what they were wearing from the beginning, and I recognized the house from the beginning, so I already knew what was about to happen. But anyway, Max and Wayne goes to Biggs' house, and Biggs is like, look, we need to stop. We doing so much. I'm going to LA. I'm buying me a house with my girl, and I feel like we got enough money. We need to kind of lay low. Like, we doing too much right now. Like, let's chill, okay? And I kind of wish we established this a little bit more, like what made him feel that way, because again, there were so many unnecessary scenes in this movie that if the good parts, because this could have been really interesting, like him being like, you know, seeing the stuff they're doing and kind of like feeling some type of way. Like, we never had that happen in this movie. Like, he never was like, I know the consequences of my ways. Like, we never saw that, and I wish we did, because it made it a little more interesting. I wish we had more of a fleshed out feud between him and Teddy and his people, and like exactly what they were doing. I wish we had more of an understanding of their drug dealing, because all we really saw was them rob people. Like, we never saw them selling any drugs. I mean, I'm not saying selling drugs is like fun, but I want to see it. That's the point of the movie, okay? But we never really established all this stuff. We established their childhood. We established freaking Wayne's brother. Like, we established this part, because this is the good part. Like, this was the part where I was like, oh my god, everything is so interesting. But like I said, I don't like the way this movie was told, but I always had that problem, so maybe I should just write a movie. Because obviously I got a lot of critiques. But anyway, as I said in the beginning, they roll up in this house and start shooting. They shoot Max at the refrigerator. He's shot in the side, and he shoots the guy who shoots him. They shoot Wayne a few times. Boy, ooh, god. That was graphic. So, you know, they're shooting at Biggs, trying to kill him, and he's shooting everybody. Okay, and again, it would have been more interesting if it was not shown in the beginning of the movie that this was going to happen, but I do enjoy this part. And so the big dude, remember from before where he was like, yo, make sure you killed him. So he comes in to make sure everybody did. So he sees Big's girlfriend sitting on the couch, and I'm like, sis, all this shooting going on around you and you just sit on the couch, oh no, why? You ain't got no fight or flight at all. You're just like, no, don't hurt me with all these bullets. Sis, move. Hide somewhere. What are you doing? She gets shot, as she should, because sis, you dumb. And you wouldn't even need to be in this movie anyway. Like, you were irrelevant to the storyline. Why do we have to establish her? We had so many more interesting things to talk about in this movie. And I feel like this is gonna be a short review because all the stuff was unnecessary, but this is the good start. Okay, so Biggs is behind the sofa. He shoots the guy. And he's shooting, and then the guy leaves for whatever reason. I guess he thought he shot him because he shot the girl. He saw the blood on the sofa, so I guess he thought maybe he shot him through the sofa because he was behind the sofa where old girl was at. I don't understand why you didn't follow him back there. Look, I don't know. Anyway, he sees the blood. I guess he thought he shot him, so he left. But guy leaves. Biggs is like, okay, the coast is clear. He does not go to his girlfriend, which is another reason why I'm like, why was she established? Because he goes straight to Wayne. He's like, oh, Wayne, you're my brother for life. Why'd I let this happen to you, Wayne? And I'm like, your girlfriend sitting here bleeding, and you watch your friend. Oh, I'm so sorry, Wayne. I love you, Wayne. And then boy, he peeps that Max is still alive, and he gets Max, and Max is like, oh my God, they killed Wayne. No, nobody cares about this. Just bleeding on the It was comedic. Anyway, so another dude walks in. They get him, and he's like, who sent you? Did Teddy send you? And he was like, everybody in here must die. Everybody in here must die. So they just shoot the boy because he like, we ain't getting no answers to him. We already know what's game. Like, we already know what's happening. So he gets Max into his car because boy is bleeding. Like, he got shot. Like, and I like this also because we are establishing that getting shot is actually like fatal. Because in Belly, people was getting shot and everybody was just walking away like, all right, bet, let's go. Like, what? Anyway, so he takes him to the hospital, like leaves him there. It's like, I don't know this guy, just picked him up, which makes sense because they would ask a whole lot of questions if you told them what happened. So I get it. And they're like, oh my God, we're losing him. So I don't know if he's alive because we never figured this out. We never find this out. I was kind of curious if he died, just a little bit. I mean, he was creepy, but like, is he alive? And so Biggs is like, all right, well, okay. We never established that he's going to get Teddy, actually. He essentially gets in his boat, and I'm thinking, based on like the scenery, is this the end of the movie? Because I know the movie is about an hour and a half long, and we were approaching the hour and a half point. So I was like, don't tell me this is the end of the movie. And he ends up in LA, and he just decides to not avenge his friend's death because what? Excuse me? Okay. Anyway, no, he goes to Teddy's house and he just swoops in, kills his boy, like, I think his name, he called him Poppy. He kills him, kills his wife who was also there with him, and has Teddy at gunpoint like, yo, you kill my people? And he was like, no, don't kill me. I give you all my money. Don't kill me. You didn't know, like, this was the game. Like, I'm good. Like, we don't even got a beef no more. Just take all my money, man. And he was like, where your money at? And he was like, it's behind the stairwell. And he takes all his money out the house, gives $7 million, gives him the money. Now, granted, you don't know if this man's gonna save you or like keep you alive. So I wouldn't say nothing. Not nobody, just kill me because I ain't giving you my money. I know I can't take it with me, but I ain't doing it. If I don't like you that much, no, I'm not giving you my money. No. But he gives him all his money, and he's like, please, don't kill me. What else do you want? You have everything. You took my wife. You took my money. What else you want? And he was like, I want your soul. And I was like, damn. And then he shot him.
See that Biggs. $7 million whole heap of blood clot money. Why else you want from me? Kill me, girl. I give everything me have, road boy. You have all of my money. You have everything. Why else you want from me? Yeah? Huh? Your soul.
And then he drives off into the sunset, and that's the end of the movie. And I was like, I want to give this a high rating because I enjoyed about the last 30 minutes of this movie, okay? I enjoyed it very much, way more than I enjoyed Belly, so it's gonna be a better rating than that, okay? And I might change Belly right back to 5.5 and give this like a 7 because we're getting there. Anyway, I like this movie. I liked parts of this movie. I wish they embellished more on the good parts, i.e. the feud between him and Teddy, him deciding he might not want to be in the game no more, the dynamic between Teddy and how they were selling drugs and how they were getting, because we saw clips of them like stealing from people. We never saw exactly what they were doing and how they were making all this money. Just like more establishing shots of the actual good part would have been nice. I didn't need to know Blocka and John back in Jamaica. I did not need to know that. I wanted to know the good parts of this movie. So if we would have cut out like 20-25 minutes of this movie, we would have gotten like an 8. I'd have given this movie an 8 because I honestly didn't think I would like this movie because of the very thick Jamaican accents, but once I put the subtitles on, great. I didn't think I would like this movie because it was boring in the beginning, but it gets interesting, okay? And I didn't like I was gonna like this movie once Wyclef came in it because I was like, if this man is a big part of this movie, I'm turning it off, and he was not. Thank God, okay? And also, the guy who played Biggs is kind of good looking. I think he's a Marley, so he fine. So that made it a little bit interesting to watch. And also the soundtrack was fire, okay? As it should be. I mean, we had the beginning coming to Welcome to Jam Rock, okay?
Out in the street, they call it
I'm like, oh, well, okay, the music is gonna be fire. Yeah, so all that was prose, but it just has so much unnecessary stuff in it. It really didn't need to have. And I'm just like, why? Why did you decide to write it like this? It's way different than Belly. With Belly, it was like it had a good point, but you did not really get there in the right way. This really didn't have much of a plot, and that's okay because it's essentially just a gangster movie, which a lot of times those don't have plots. Like if you watch The Goodfellas, like they're just killing people, and then he's telling you about his life as a gangster. Like that's one of my favorite movies, but it doesn't have this big giant moral of the story type thing. It's just gangsters, like, you know what I'm saying? And that's what this is. It's just Jamaican gangsters, right? And it would have been great if it was like that, but they had to put all that extra, I mean, ooh, the extra stuff to it. Oops. Hi parents, hi. So I know the ratings don't matter and nobody cares, but I'm gonna give it like a 7.25. 7.25. If we cut all the other stuff out, it might have gone 8. Might have gone 8.5. I really actually like the movie, okay? I'm not gonna lie. So that's my review. If you like this video, if you like my review, please hit the like button. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or any suggestions of movies, songs, albums, or just stuff to talk about, put them in the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. YouTube just like, if you've seen this video, thank you, because YouTube just like, yo, nobody gonna see your videos no more. So I'm sorry you make music, you make commentary about music and movies. We don't like that because we obviously don't want you to have any type of commentary on somebody else's work, even though that's fair use. I mean, I went to 3 years of law school, so I feel like I know a little bit about fair use, just a little bit. But no, they're like, no, that's not fair use, even though you use like 10-second clips. You know what, I'm ranting. Let's get to the end of the movie, the end of the video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.